Hello, I'm Jeffrey Peterson, AFA MEC President, Alaska Airlines. Today is Thursday, February the 7th, 2013. We just wrapped up 3 days of negotiations at the Alaska Airlines Flight Operations and Training Center in Seattle. In this session, we discussed Section 3 scope, 5 definitions, 11 reserve, 12 exchange of sequences, and 15 leaves of absence. In Section 3 scope, we proposed some protections for capacity purchase agreement flying within the air group. There has been an increase in CPA flying within the air group in the last several years. Now Horizon is doing all CPA flying on behalf of Alaska Airlines. There's also SkyWest in the mix. So we've proposed some additional protections for increased CPA flying and how that will interact with the Alaska Airlines flight attendant seniority list. There's also discussions about wet lease, and that is temporary flying not done by the flight attendants at Alaska or using Alaska aircraft, but on behalf of the company. Also furlough protections. Another important point is that we proposed some language that prior to engaging in additional product or service sales, that the company will negotiate those with the association going forward. We think it's important to cement some of those protections, particularly since we've seen an increase in our duties in the last several years with buy on board. So we're looking at in the future and making sure that we have some protections for if the company is interested in engaging in duty-free on board the plane, or say vacation packages, t-shirts. You can come up with all sorts of situations that is not specifically related to consumable items. In Section 5 definitions, we proposed some definitions for irregular operations as well as severe irregular operations and also international flying. Section 11 reserve, we TA'd that language officially. We had TA'd a term sheet before, and now we've TA'd the full language. Section 12 exchange of sequences, we reached a TA this time. Some of the highlights in exchange of sequences is jet bridge trading. We did cement jet bridge trading, which means that you can split a trip at any point, that point being either the sequence interruption point, the entire sequence, or even part of the sequence at or remain overnight or layover destination. As long as it's within 3 hours of departure, has to be before, cannot create a delay to boarding, and the 2 flight attendants must be present. So that's the only restrictions on the jet bridge trading, except for it cannot be done with international flights. Also, we have made some improvements to open time. We think the concept that we've developed will help open up open time. In fact, it will start out with no days closed at this point. It is a bit of a complicated concept. We'd like to spend some time explaining that, but it's too lengthy for a video, or at least this one video. So we plan on producing an additional communication and very likely a video to back that up. However, I'm going off to the AFA Board of Directors meeting day after tomorrow. That would be Saturday, and we'll be tied up for the next several days. So we'll be working on that in the next week or so. So we ask that you just hold on. We'll make sure to get you some more information about Section 12 exchange of sequences. But be assured that there is a lot of good stuff coming out of there, and that we think it will help open up open time, and we'll be talking more about that in the very near future. Section 15 leaves of absence, that was TA'd previously. We have re-TA'd the section. And the reason being that as a result of a medical emergency recently, I think it was Flight 473, that involved a crew member that had a medical issue. It highlighted some opportunities to remove ambiguity for when a flight attendant was removed from a pairing or a future pairing as a result of a critical incident. So we think that's important, and we do appreciate management's willingness to go back and re-TA this section and make the language even better for our flight attendants going forward. So again, we appreciate that. There was discussion about the crew room in Seattle. As you remember, there's been some ongoing controversy over the small size of the crew room at the end of the C concourse. Management did contract with a vendor to look at crew room space around the system. As a result of those findings, they are going to expand the crew room down at the end of the C concourse. They're going to knock out one of those walls and increase the size of the space by at least twice as much. And understand that that space is already very small, so it's something at least. And keep in mind that that space is a temporary, I use temporary loosely, it's a temporary space. We will be eventually moving to the North Concourse at a more permanent space in the future. So, at least some improvements in the near term. We scheduled more dates going all the way into August as a precaution. We are hoping that we won't be there that long, but we did schedule those dates just to make sure that we have access to our negotiator and to the management team in one place. So we have those dates just in case. The negotiating committee will meet in just a few weeks, February 25th to 28th, and that will be an internal meeting where we're going to be discussing communication and strategy. We're getting into the really big stuff, so we want to make sure that we have all the information we need, and we're going to talk about putting out additional information to you, the membership, and how we will be negotiating going forward. The next full session is going to be March 18th to the 21st, so that is a little ways away. Well, we're expecting a comprehensive proposal from management, and that means that it's basically everything. So we're going to expect to see compensation, insurance benefits, and then a response on all the remaining outstanding issues in that one proposal. And that's the comprehensive proposal. So we are getting towards the end here, and we'll have a lot more information after that session and all the exciting stuff that people like to talk about, such as compensation and the insurance benefits. So in the meantime, make sure to wear your AFA pin. And if you have any questions, you can always visit us on the MEC website, alaskamec.org, or of course our Alaska Airlines Negotiations Facebook page or the YouTube video channel.